My glasses on. Where is it? There it is, right there. All right, we're plugged in. Let me get my other stuff open over here. Let's go back. Right there. There we go. All right. Okay. I think I am ready now. It'll take a second or two for everybody to pop up. So David Kuntz, somebody from over at Tuscaloosa, actually Northport, Ryan there, Tyler Eubanks, Bryce, Matthew, let's see who else was it, Southern Firewood. A lot of people popping up. Everybody good tonight. That's all right. There is SLC Farms. It's all good. Actually, it was kind of good that you didn't call me back because they showed up here to start the fiber and all that mess like that and everything. So I was kind of tied up with them. So it worked out. I saw Brian Chips from over there on the West Coast pop up there too. There's Mr. Glenn, Robert. Hope it's dry and warm wherever all y'all are. I'll tell you what, man, last night, let's see, Emma played ball last night. She had a game that started at 7. And yeah, I seen some pictures from out there today there, Brian. I'd like to have been out there. I enjoyed that visit out there. There's Big John right there. But anyhow, they started last night. Dang, man, 7 o'clock. The darn wind chill was like, this is not cold to a lot of parts of the country, but it was 31. Wind was blowing, and they played till about 7 in the game. It was about 10 after 10 when they got done. We got home. I don't know, it was 10:30, close to 11 or so, something like that. There's Sydney, and then we got up this morning. The game they played last night was here in town. And then we got up this morning and we went west of us about an hour over to Webster County, Mississippi, just above Maben. And we played 2 7-inning games. Today they started at 11 and 1. We got back here about 4 something, I guess. That's what time we got back here. There's Garmin Guru. There's Sean, Leah, and so anyhow, let's see. Yeah, last night they won, and today they played a double header, so they split those. They won the first game and lost the second. So they've done pretty good this year so far. They're looking pretty good. Of course, this is Emma's last year to play, so we're all kind of soaking it up as good as we can, and I'm gonna try to go to as many games as I can. There'll be a few that I miss. There's Samuel Joe. I'll try to go to all of them. There'll be a few that I end up missing, but really, and today when we were over there, it was misting rain this morning before we left the house here. We left and drove over there. Up north of us, it was kind of sleet, snow, kind of mix kind of deal, raining. And so it's been kind of nasty here all day today. So really wasn't anything I could have done today other than just play in my shop down there or anything like that. So went ahead and went to the games and got that done. So after it's supposed to rain here again tomorrow, they're calling for a good bit of rain tomorrow, storms and stuff like that. I don't think anything severe, just normal rain. And so in the woods, the logging crew has not ran or hauled a load of wood since Thursday a week ago, which would have been Valentine's week, I believe. there that Thursday. Worked till a little after lunch, and then that was it. And there was nothing else hauled all week this week, and even today or anything like that. So it's been the ground is just rotting right here right now. And but we somebody asked, we've been selling a lot of firewood. We sold a good bit. We hadn't sold a load last week, toward the end of the week, I believe it was, and everything. So I see Father Fancher showed up right there. I was gonna say I texted him while we were at the game, and he's got a son that's a senior this year over at Winston Academy, and I texted Slade and I said, hey dude, I said, where y'all playing today? And they went up to Corinth, Mississippi, which is just south of the Tennessee line, up in the furthest part of the northern edge of the state you can go. And he said they left at 6 and got up there. I think he told me they played one inning and then it got canceled. It was raining and all that, and then turned around and came back home. And that's for him to go up there. That's a pretty good little haul, because it's about 100 miles from us up there, and Slade's gonna be a little bit further south, and everything. So yes, that's the bad thing about logging, man. You can have there's old Daniel Creek Fishing Junkie just showed up. Somebody, I think Joseph asked how Jill's doing. Jill's good. That's the bad thing about logging, man. You can have one good week out of every 6 weeks or so, and then, man, the darn weather jinx you all up and everything like that. We've been kind of sick, kind of off and on, stuff like that there, Joseph, and Jill and them. It's about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were sick. I was a little bit sick, not bad or anything, and then I fooled around last weekend. I didn't go to the doctor, but pretty sure I had strep throat. Started Saturday, and man, it about took me out there Saturday night and Sunday and everything. There's HMA from Ireland. I just seen Tim Hill from up at New Albany. I would imagine he probably got some wet stuff this morning, and up there in New Albany up there, I'm sure it's pretty wet, and we're getting rain right now. The rain had just started moving in on us now. I just looked at the radar a while ago, and man, it's kind of covered across the state right there and everything. So let's see here. I seen somebody. Let's see, Josh 592. It's been kind of weird this week. I had quite a good bit of questions and private messages that came to me about the 592, and I still haven't got that saw yet. I have not got it. I talked to Bryant and him over at Northport Power Equipment last week, I believe it was. He sent me a message, and they had moved the ship date again on that sapsucker. And I think the ship date now on it's like March the 10th or something. And they're struggling, man. And still, as far as I know, still don't have that hex cut chain out available yet either, that they were supposed to have out in the first quarter. And it's of course, it's the nature of things right now. And I tell you this right here, if you do work, or you've got equipment or whatever that you use daily, and you're needing something, a particular piece or whatever, or something, or you think you're going to need it within the next few months or something like that, and you run across that piece of equipment and you've got the opportunity to buy it, you better jump on it and get it secured right then, because man, things are tough tough to grab hold of right now and to get. Because I know some of y'all on here probably have seen me mention lifts. I've been pursuing a lift now for, I guess, probably since about the 1st of February. And man, they're hard to get. They're very, very tough to get and everything. So they're crazy. Let's see, Brad H. Horrible down here in Collierville. I know right where Collierville is. Had some surgery up there in 2013 at the hospital there in Collierville, at the Southern Spine Specialist there. So, and I've noticed it seems like every time that the rain bands come through, even if they miss us, they come right through that area up there of Collierville and run right there. And Grant says, there in South Georgia, made it to 80 today. It's kind of crazy because I was talking to John and them the other day, and we had that front come through. Let's see, I believe it was Thursday night. I went out and let's see, hung out with Chris Thursday night for a little bit out there at the lock. He was out there working, so I went out there with him. We had a front come through. It got pretty warm during the day there Thursday. Front come through Friday morning. It was butt cold all day yesterday. But that front evidently, once it got across Alabama, it must have played out or something over that way and quit because man, like I said, I was talking to John and I looked at their weather over there where they're at in South Carolina, and it was warm, like in the 70s or 80s there or whatever and stuff. But let's see here. Yeah, there's Austin. He's from up there around Tupelo. He got a load of wood from me back early winter time. Let's see. Nick says here in Florida got 85 today. That's crazy. Brian's looking for a 130, 140 horsepower tractor right now. I know Kubota's struggling right now on some stuff too, like the stand-on mini skids that they got on the that they came out with about 2 years ago, I guess. You can't find them. SVLs, the regular track loaders that they got, they're a little bit difficult to find, and it's been kind of crazy on the equipment side of things, and just trying to get stuff. I know there's not hardly a week that don't go by how people contacting me about helping them try to find chainsaws, locating whether it's either a steel or a Husqvarna, trying to find a 400, a 462, or just 562 Husqvarna stuff, just everything. 500 steels. They're hard to find. Let's see. Dirty South says it was 81 yesterday and 60s today. I guess that front was just kind of weird the way it did coming across over there and everything. But maybe they'll get these chainsaws worked out, and I'll end up with a 592 here before much more longer. We'll see. Let's see. Slade just asked, what kind of climbing hooks do I use? Are they straight or all set? And they're the notch geckos. I have 2 pairs of them. Well, I actually have 3 pair of them to be exact. I've got an old pair of steel. I think they're Bashlins, I believe is what they are. And they got buckle straps on them. And then I've got a pair of aluminum notch geckos, and then I got a pair of carbon fiber geckos. And they both have the Velcro straps on them with the quick release buckles on the bottom of them. And I'll be honest, I've got both of them, but I prefer the aluminum ones over the carbon fiber ones. Even though the carbon fiber ones are lighter than the aluminum ones, I actually like the aluminum ones better than I do the carbon fiber ones. And let's see, and those things are very expensive now too. Let's see, what's the price of diesel down here? I've seen it. It's in the upper threes, $3.89 or so, I believe is what it is right now currently. You know, I don't ever really pay attention to it. I gotta have it, so I just get it. You know what I mean? And I burn a lot of it too. Will says, what part of Mississippi am I from? I'm from Philadelphia. I miss logging, but it's hard to make it being a contractor. I already come to Texas and work in the oil field, but I do miss it. I'm actually about 90 miles from Philadelphia in Columbus, Mississippi. Yeah, Joseph, I like the kayak. It's pretty cool, man. That thing's gonna work really good. I worked on it yesterday a good bit. There's Junior from up there in around Asheville, North Carolina. Met Junior a couple of different times. That's right, Joseph. The metal that I bought is the 3/4 metal is going to be to mount the electronics up on the front of on the gear tracks there, and then the 1 inch is actually going to be for a rack that's going to go in the receiver hitch of my truck, and the kayak's going to go over my fuel tank and it'll be sitting on the rack at an angle, and the nose of it'll be right up above like my third tail light up there. It's where it'll be. Let's see. So gas here, going back to the gas and fuel, gas is about $3.20 here, $3.18, $3.19, something like that. Let's see here. If you needed some firewood, William, I got plenty of it, because all that we split, I've got some of that left, and I've got a ton of stuff I got to cut up again out there, cut up in rounds and all. So people commenting on the fuel and the gas, I don't think we've seen the end of that stuff no time soon. I think it's going to go on up. I think fuel's probably going to go somewhere between $4 and $5 a gallon, pretty good. And it's probably already there in some places. And gas is probably going to go on up in the very high threes, I'm afraid. Let's see. Let's see. James says, yeah, we all good over here tonight there, James. He said he recently moved to Senatobia. And he's got M&M. That's old Bryn McGuffey, M&M Demolition over there, working on a roundabout they're about to build over there in town. What are they tearing down over there to make room for the roundabout? Are they just ripping up a bunch of concrete and stuff like that, or is there some buildings there they're having to wreck out to get ready? And kind of a side note to that right there with M&M, kind of something interesting. On the W's campus where Jill works at the university here in Columbus, where Bryn and them demoed those two big dorms over there, they're actually in the building phase of the new culinary arts building, and they're hanging the steel on it now. And I ought to go by there, because a good friend of mine owns a construction company that's building the new culinary arts, and I need to ride over there, because I know he'd let me come by there and film, but I need to ride over there and film it, because it's going to be a huge building. They, like I said, they've got hanging steel right now, and they got an army of folks over there been working on. I guess they started probably 3 months or so ago, but on that, and that's pretty interesting to see them tear down the buildings now, starting back, because that was exactly 2 years ago this month when Brian started on that, early February, I believe, 2020, when he started demoing those dorms over there and getting them tore down. And let's see. So they're taking buildings down. Okay, I got you. I hadn't talked to Brian in a while. I texted him, I guess, probably back during the fall. I hadn't talked to him, and I hadn't talked to him since then, I don't guess. Every now and then I'll text him and kind of check and see where they're at and everything. Let's see. Williams says $4.11 a gallon for fuel over in Texas. Bill says he got his 661 a BART box. I don't got to put a BART box on it. It sounds awesome. And saws they sound really good with those things on them. West Coast saws he did well on those things, man. And there is no telling how any of those things he's so. Yeah, I took it down the other day when we were installing the fiber in here. I had to get the fiber down through the wall and got that done, and so I keep it hung up over there. I enjoy walking in here and seeing it, you know. And of course, I can see it in the camera, and I just glance over to it, and let's see. No. There's a few log cabins here, there, and yonder, but the thing about log cabins is the insurance. You don't see a lot of them just because of a lot of the upkeep on them and everything. The insurance is higher on them because of the fire stuff, and then, you know, you got to stay on top of, make sure they don't get termites and things like that, and it stays so humid here during the summer times and everything. And so Ruger asked about the 592. I have ran one. The one I ran was pretty new. It didn't have any time on it yet. For what I ran it in, yeah, it seemed mean, but I need one. You know, I need one to put some time on it and run it and run it in some good hardwood, you know, some red oak and white oak, hickory, stuff like that, to see what it does, put it through its paces, get it broke in, you know. And some of the messages I got this week, I didn't realize it, but there's a lot of people kind of hinging on the saw videos, and a lot of the decisions that they make, they base them on like what I show in the videos, and so I went back and I looked at some of the saw videos, and man, there's a lot of them got you know 100,000 views. Some of them's got 300,000-400,000 views on them, stuff like that, and so I guess they get frequent in a good bit. And I use YouTube to figure out what I'm going to do and what I'm going to buy or what I'm not going to buy. So, you know, everybody else does too. So it's a good thing there. Let's see. Let's see. Bill asked, did I put a BART box on my 362? I did. When I first put it on there, when I got the 362, I really didn't like that saw very much. And I put the BART box on it, and I still wasn't that crazy about it. And so what I did was I took the saw, and they're supposed to automatically calibrate themselves when you change things, but sometimes they don't. And I ran the saw in a calibration mode. Went through the calibration sequence on it, and there's several videos on YouTube. I got one on that shows you how to do it. And when I did that, the saw picked up, and I like the 362 a lot. Actually, the 400 is probably my favorite saw. Every saw I've got, and I've said this many times in my videos. I'm not necessarily crazy about the steels. The steels and the Husqvarna are both very, very good saws. But the thing that I do like about, there's a lot of like the gas, oil cap, stuff like that. I'm not crazy about on the steels and the air filtration or whatever. But the thing that I really like about the steels, and this is me, and of course I'm in a tree or a lift running a lot of times, is the weight of them. They're light. They're quite a lot lighter than the same comparable Husqvarna is. And man, I'm gonna tell you, when you're up in a tree and you're hanging from a rope and you're up there straining your guts out, man, you're about to get a hemorrhoid trying to cut something or fool with a saw. You want, or I do, I want the lightest thing I can possibly get in my hands, and to where because you number one, you're cutting with it and you got it, the saw's all in your face, completely in your face, and then you hang it from your belt, and you take the same saw, this other brand that's say 3 pounds heavier. If you're say up in a tree 2 or 3 hours, man, that gets to you quick, fast, in a hurry. And the guys that are arborists that work in trees 5 and 6 days a week, my hat's off to those guys, because if you've never been up in a tree, hanging from a rope or in a lift, and you've cut on the ground, it's a completely different style of cutting. And again, it's completely different when the saw is right there in your face the whole time. And I mean, like if you're working with a crane, you're trying to make your cuts over your head so that when everything goes to moving and say it comes off the stem, it's already cleared your head and you're not trying to duck it. So it's just a completely different animal up there. Let's see. And Brian made a good point right there, and I know this too. Brian says he's a logger over there on the West Coast, and I've actually met Brian. Brian's a phenomenal loader operator. He's dang good, and he says he's a steel guy, but he says he thinks the Huskies are way tougher. Now the Huskies, the bottom end of them, they're the Mack trucks of the chainsaw world. I mean, they're just, if you take like a 550 Husqvarna and a 261 steel and you snatch them apart and you look at the bottom end on a Husqvarna on that 550 compared to the 261, there's no comparison. I mean, it's a noticeable difference of what the guts of it and how tough it's built right there on it. So Nick asked, has a 400. So far, all of my saws have held up good. The 400's done really good. But the problem is I've got so many saws that I don't put a lot of hours on one particular saw. So I've got the saw that's got the most hours on it is my 550, my one that I call Screaming Demon, that I got back in, I think it was 2019. And when we plugged it up to the computer back in November, I believe it was, it only had like 33 hours on it. It's all I had on it. So I don't have, I don't sit there and put a lot of hours on. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. So Ruger says he's going to put down the old 390 as his main saw and going to a 592. Well, I'll tell you what, if you run a saw like the 390 or the 395 or 592 or a steel, a 661 all day long every day, you're one tough cookie, buddy, is all I can say, man. Because I can run them for a while, but man, goodness gracious, it just I only run them when I need to make a big cut with one of them, and then I put it down. I just make my cut and I throw that thing down. Let's see. Let's see. Says I just feel bad that you don't have an echo. I'll come around. There's nothing, I don't have an echo because I had never bought one. I have ran a bunch of echoes though. Every time I have a saw class, I usually have at least one echo at the saw class. They're good saws. They don't run out like what I like, and not knocking them at all. They're a good, as far as bang for your buck, they're a great saw, bang for your buck. But I'm accustomed to the way the Huskies and the Steels run and the way that they run out, and that's just my thing. I like that. Let's see, Mr. Frank, I am doing good. Let's see. They don't make Sydney. They don't make an hour meter that is actually that you can see on the saw. But all your new saws, like if it's got the auto tune Husqvarna or if it's got the M-Tronics steel, it has an ECM in it, and it is data logging the hours runtime. It keeps up with everything. It keeps up with, when you plug it in, you can tell how many, and you got to have the software and stuff to plug it in and to be able to tell you, and it'll tell you how many times it's been cranked. It'll tell you what the carb settings are on the high and low side. It'll tell you everything on that saw and the hours ran on it, and that's actually that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that they keep up with it. Let's see. Let's see. So Warren, hey buddy, Ruger Farman says, he says, tell me a story about my 257 Weatherby. So that, he's talking about a rifle there. I'll talk about that and just kind of change the subject for a little bit. That rifle started out, I bought that rifle new in 1998. And I had, it was originally a 25-06 that I hand loaded myself, hand loaded rounds for, and worked it up and shot it like that forever up till, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago. And I've always been kind of infatuated with the Weatherby Magnums. And when I bought that gun, as a 700 BDL Deluxe, and I took it, gutted it, had it fully customized, had the barrel floated, glass bedded to action, changed the trigger, cut the stock, put a Pachmayr pad on it, cut the stock to fit me, and then put the Pachmayr pad on it to fit me, and I took and I had it bead blasted and re-blued where it turned it into like a Parkerized type finish, like a matte type finish. Did all that to it, and fixed it up again, worked up a load for it. Trying to think if there's anything else I did to it. Shot it like that for years. In fact, crazy infatuated with the 257 Weatherby. So I took the gun to Jarrett Rifles over in Jackson, South Carolina. Jay Jarrett and him. And what I did was I had them rebarrel it. They took the barrel, the 25-06 barrel that was on it, took it off. They built a barrel for it that they built and chambered it in a 257 Weatherby, and then worked up a load for me on it. They had to rebed the action again. They changed the trigger. We changed the trigger again in it. Took and sent the bolt off, had the bolt fluted, and then had the bolt handle skeletonized. They worked on it lightened it up quite a lot. And then I hadn't myself hand loaded anything for it. What I did was when they worked at the load and they got it its sweet spot, what it was shooting, then I had them go ahead and hand load me 100 rounds. I bought 100 rounds from them there at one time. The gun will freaking shoot. It's got a break on the end of it. The Weatherby, if you've never fooled with a Weatherby Magnum, they are in a different atmosphere of rifles. And just put it this way, I would hate to shoot like a 300 Weatherby or a 338 or anything like that. The pressure that comes off of that gun is absolutely scary. It don't have much recoil, but that brake that's on it, I'll tell you how bad the pressure is that comes off of it. I shoot, sometimes I hunt out of shooting houses, and one of the shooting houses I was in last year, I've actually got a heater in it. It was real cold, and I was in that shooting house, and I've got some shelving in it, so I have my Apple AirPods sitting on the shelf down below the window. The heater was going. I was going to make a shot, and when I shot, it actually, the pressure blew the AirPods back off the shelf that was in there, and it blew the heater out. The little propane heater that I had running in there, it blew that heater out. Like I said, the Weatherby Magnums those things are serious business, man. It's no playing. Because he asked me, he said, what grain bullet you want to shoot out of? And I was shooting a 100 grain bullet out of my 25-06. And he said, you're not going to be able to shoot 100 out of this. He said, we're going to have to go on up. I said, well, y'all are the experts on it. I said, whatever y'all see fit to shoot out of it. So it's shooting I believe it's on one. I'd have to look at my data on it. I think it's on 115 VDL burger is what it is out of it. But you can spend. I think I spent like it's either $3,500 or $3,800 rebarreling that gun and do all the work that I just said I did to it right there, something like that. So there's Demetrius Robinson. Let's see, but like I said, it's that thing ain't nothing to play with, man. That son of a gun is got some. It's boys in them Weatherby Magnums. They the real deal, man. Let's see. And I forget what the velocity is on it coming out of it. It was the muzzle velocity with that 115. What they chronographed that was insane. I mean, it's way up there. I can't remember what it was because all that data is in my closet down there. Let's see. Let's see what we got. I seen Brian. Let's see. Brian said he cut with 066 when he was in his early 20s, but now he like to use them when he needs them now. That's about right. There, those saws, and those saw like the 066. Somebody else commented on those 66 down there. That's going to be right there, Pete. I believe. I'm pretty sure that's going to be correct. But those 066s and everything, that was before some of the lighter stuff. So ain't no telling what like an old 066 was, say a 36-inch regular bar, what that thing clocks in at on the scales. There ain't no telling. Let's see. Daniel says, what's a good saw to keep on a log haul or semi? The 550 XP Mark II all day long. And if you're a steel guy, put the 261 on there and you'll be fine. Just stick a 20-inch bar on them and you can clean up loads with it, and they're not heavy. They don't take up much room either wherever you store them at, and just do that. Let's see. Hadn't cooked anything good on the grill. I hadn't cooked. Well, I cooked some steaks we had a decent, nice, I guess probably about three weekends ago, nice Saturday. And I went, I quoted several jobs, was coming back through town. I stopped by our butcher shop and picked some ribeyes up and cooked them there. Let's see here. Somebody asked, how's Jay doing? Jay is working a little bit now, not a lot. He's staying around the shop a good bit and everything and stuff. Let's see, 572 versus 400. The both great saws, but man, there's a huge weight difference between those two saws. 71 cc's on the 572 and 67 cc's on the 400. And the 400 is just man, it's a zippy saw, and it's light. It's a lot lighter than the 572 is. It costs about $100 more also. Let's see. There's Michael Mean. That's one of Slade's neighbors down there from down there at Louisville, Mississippi. Let's see. Rigger says, could I explain the pros and the cons between the 50, the 58, and the 63 gauge chains? The way all that came about was back in the day out there on the West Coast when the saw bars started wearing on the groove in there. Rather than throwing them away, they just made a wider gauge chain where it would fit that groove and kept right on running that bar. And so that's where you come, where that derived from was that right there. And my preference is I like running the narrower gauge. I like the 50 gauge if that's what I've got, what I'm running. A lot of times on the longer stuff, longer bars, you'll see them either be a 58 or a 60 gauge. So the thing about it is, in my mind here, when on the wider gauges, you got more weight, chain weight there. So it takes, you're going to take a little bit out of the saw or whatever, as far as, and most people wouldn't probably never notice it, but I prefer 50 gauge stuff. Is what I prefer. And running that, let's see. Let's see. Dad's doing good. I don't think he likes the cold no more. I don't think it G-alls with him anymore or anything. Let's see, D-grass. The only other thing I'm gonna put on it is some electronics on it, and that's pretty much it. I want to put a live scope unit on it, but I can't get the live scope transducer. They're not going to be available till the end of March and everything. I have run an 044. Like the saw, they're a good saw. Let's see. Yeah, Bobby says 105 watching, show some love and hit the like button. Yeah, that's right. Y'all smash that like button over there. Let's see here, but so I don't know if Michael Mean, if you're still watching, man, how you doing? I ain't talked to you in probably a month or so, I guess now, and everything, and he'd been a little under the weather, had some surgery and everything and stuff. Let's see. Let's see, Sydney asked, have I ever cut one of my roots while in a tree? No, I have not cut a root while I was in a tree, but you know those little, if you watch my videos, those little choker straps that I use that are about a 1/2 inch wide, that I'll choke on a limb and then attach a carabiner to the porter wrap, or the rope that's on the porter wrap to lower it down. I did hit one of them back in July last year. I was cutting about I had about four limbs choked on 4 different of those. They call them endless loops, I believe is what they are. And one of them, when I was cutting, I didn't see it on the other side of the tree, and I actually hit it. It didn't cut. I didn't slice it all the way in half. As a matter of fact, I went ahead and cut the limb was already dangling and everything, and let it on down. But I've hit one of them. I hit on the same deal back in December, one of those little endless loops. I hit the carabiner with a chainsaw, with a battery saw. I hit it, and I actually cut into the rail on one of the baskets on the lift that I was using. I hit it with the saw one day, nicked it, and it's easy to do. I hadn't hit one of my ropes, because man, a climbing rope or lanyard or something like that, you don't have to nick it much. Yeah, loop runner. You don't have to nick it much, and that thing, you don't take much, and it'll come on. It'll come on apart with you, and it'll really. There's a bunch of videos that show you doing it, and that's one thing while you're up in a tree that you've got to be mindful of. There's a bunch of things, but the guys that are on the ground, and then where your ropes are. And I'm a big fan of bright colored ropes. I don't like anything that blends in to the bark or to the leaves or anything like that. I want it, anything that I'm messing with, I want it to be bright as it can, and I want whoever's on the ground, to have a bright hard hat on where I can pick them out real quick or anything like that. Let's see. William says he's seen 404 on a chainsaw and on harvester bars. Are they the same chain? Yes, they are. So you'll see a 404 pitch on a like the old Bell tree cutters run 404. A lot of like 622 Wartals, a lot of harvester heads run the 404 pitch chains on them. And then like a 3120 steel and an 880 steel. And there are some 395s that I've seen that that will run. It has to be a big bore saw, like a 395 or something like that, bigger to run the 404 pitch. But it is the same saw and everything. Let's see. Yeah, I hadn't tried that rope yet, Aaron. Michael asked about my thumb. My thumb's doing good, man. The ER doctor that put it back together, man, did a good job on it, because I actually lost it from everything from the thumbnail back at the cuticle out was gone, and so that's the length difference now. So again, the ER doctor, my hats off to him, man. He did a fantastic job, man, grafting that thing together. I still got feeling in the end of it. Only thing is, right now I still got that real thick, like a callus type skin on the end of it that hadn't finished coming on off, but it's done good. I can't complain about it. Let's see. Let's see. So Aaron asked a good question. What does the G stand for on some Husqvarna saws? So you'll see a Husqvarna saw to be 550 XP, and that's what all of mine are XPs. but you'll see them, they'll say XPG, and the G is a heated handle. It's got a the handle on it is heated for the running in cold weather and everything. And let's see, Ruger says he tried sharpening the chainsaw upside down in the vise. I got more flack for that video. People like saying, there was quite a few said that if you got to sharpen a saw like that, you don't need to be sharpening. And there's more junk comes from saw sharpening videos. It's insane, man. If I want to stir up a hornet's nest on in a video, all I gotta do is sharpen a saw, man. And the thing about it is, whatever works for you is the deal, man. And stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Brian's right about that. You'll see, like out there where Brian's at, out there on the West Coast, man, and that big wood and then that redwood too, where it's got that real thick tight bark on it, man. They'll run those big chains. Dude, you gotta be a manhole on them things up there and stick it into a tree and get it started cutting, because that 404, when you step up to it, that's a pretty meaty chain right there. That's a heavy chain. Let's see. So John says, have I ever thought about coming out west to elk hunt sometime? Slade on there is about got me talked into going out there and hunting with him this coming September out there and everything and stuff. So Eddie Cobb done dropped some change right there, man. Appreciate that, Andy. Says he's been running the 622 Warthog for quite a few years. Don't even use a saw on a job. We had some 288 Huskies back in the day and many 260Cs, 266s, but that 288 was the best saw I ever run. He brings up a good point on that, man. The 2 Series Husqvarnas, man, were like just as bulletproof as they came, like the 262s, the 266s. Man, those were good saws. We run a bunch of them back in the day, and they were just great saws, man. They held up well, did good. You couldn't, about the only way you could tear them up is if you run over them with something. We run over with a skidder or bulldozer or something, and everything. Let's see. So yeah, he said on 622 they don't even run a saw on a job. That's kind of like us, when we got the pull through delimbers, the chainsaws pretty much went by the wayside for us back in I think it was 93 when we got our first pull through delimber, and we hadn't messed with them hadn't really messed with them a whole lot there or whatever. There's those Slade still on there. I'm probably going to end up going out there with Slade out there, man. I think that'd be fun. That's kind of the beauty of the way that I'm doing now and everything. I got more time and everything. And let's see. So Aaron, I think both of those are interchangeable on the Husqvarna battery pole saw and the Milwaukee. I think the 10-inch is going to be identical. I don't think there's going to be no difference in it. I think you can swap them back and forth. Just put it on there and check it and try to make sure. But they're both 43 gauge, and I'm pretty sure that it'll swap over and go over there. And let's see. Let me look back up here. See, See, Slade's, y'all see what Slade's doing right there. Slade's already done hitting. Somebody said something about elk hunting. Slade's like a drug addict with elk, man. He loses his mind, man. And see, there's Michael coming back in. Yeah, Michael brings up a good point. I'm not riding with him, Michael. If I go out there, I'm gonna drive my own vehicle, and probably not even gonna sleep in the same under the same roof with him either. I'm gonna stay in a separate building that way in case lightning strikes. I'll be somewhat safe and everything. Because what Michael's referring to is Slade's kind of had a run of bad luck here over the past few months. You name it, he's had it happen to him. Been stabbed with a knife, hit in the face with a baseball bat, knocked his teeth out, had to have sinus surgery because of that. I was on the phone with him about 2 weeks ago, and he smoked a deer in his truck. Gosh, had COVID. Man, he's had a run of about everything, man. And so yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Oh gosh, look, see there's Slade. I know right where you are. We need to chat. Slade's hitting him up, boy. I'm telling you, Slade's working that man. Next thing Slade's gonna say, he's gonna say, "Hey, you turkey hunt?" He said, "I'll send you a turkey call." Slade, I'll send you a turkey call if you'll let me come turkey hunting with you. So Slade got him. That's right. Slade knows how to work it. He knows how to work it. If Slade was a stripper, he would make good money. You know, if he was a stripper, he would make dang good money. He would walk out with a bunch of $1 bills because he knows how to work it, y'all. He really does. He's got it going on. Let's see. Oh gosh, Lord have mercy. Well, anyhow, I wanted to come on here for a little bit and have a little fun on here tonight. Appreciate everybody showing up and hanging out and everything. And I'm not sure that we'll be logging Monday either, because we're that rain tonight and rain coming in again tomorrow and everything. And appreciate Andy Cobb sending $20 through, man. That's pretty cool and stuff. But I just enjoy. So I enjoy. Let's see here. I enjoy coming over here and hanging out and messing around and everything and all that stuff like that and chatting. I like the live feeds, man. They're pretty cool and all that. Let's see. David Ketterman just put $20 out there. David's over there in North Carolina and everything. Maybe one of these days I'll be back over there in that area over and do a meet and greet or something over there. But I don't have anything in the books right now and stuff. But Jane said, I really enjoyed it all. Hardly ever do the social media anymore, but this was fun. God bless. Yeah, the last 2 or 3 live feeds I've done, man, have been really good. I was able to keep up with the comments pretty good tonight. I don't think I missed too much on the comments. Sometimes there's so many comes through on it. It stayed around 100, a little better than 100 people. If it gets up to 300 or so like that, it's hard to keep up with the comments and so then I'll get off. I get done with the live feeds, then I'll get on the phone with John over there and I'll get him to fill me in on what I missed if I miss seeing something or something like that, because he's paying attention to everything that goes on and everything. So hopefully maybe this next week this weather changed for us a little bit and we'll get some better weather and all that. But there's a lot of key people in here tonight. Like David sent that $20 through. I mean, there's a lot of folks on here that are here, day in and day out. It doesn't matter. It don't matter what I post, whether it's a fishing video or a logging video or a chainsaw video or a tree taking down video, whatever it is, they're gonna be here and watch it. I want to see Joseph asked, do I have any more big plans? Yeah, I've got one more. I've got a big item coming right now that I should have here in about the next 2 weeks, I guess, something like that. It's gonna be pretty cool whenever I get my hands on it and everything. But y'all have a good night. I'm gonna let this one ride. We'll catch y'all later. Let me figure out where to stop. There it is right there. We'll catch y'all later. Later, taters.